we are in the right place in terms of our physical location where we are headquartered, capturing the largest remittance corridor of the world.
Right.
The single largest remittance corridor of the world, Middle East Kerala.
Right.
And Federal Bank is well positioned there.
Right.
But equally, we are carrying those skills to beyond Kerala, because today my rate of growth of remittances in Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka is higher than my growth in Kerala.
Oh, okay.
But Kerala is a huge base.
It's a huge chunk, right?
Non-Kerala is a smaller base. So we are happy to carry that skill.
True.
And these products are usually, if you take the remitter, like I said, there are three types. One is the conventional, traditional remitter who needs to send money for the livelihood of families.
Right.
The second remitter is somebody who remits because there is a interest rate arbitrage.
We have right.
He spots an opportunity, he rotates money by borrowing there or whatever and sending it here, and when the rupee strengthens, he takes it back. So that's one category of remitter. The third remitter is putting money into India for investment purposes.
Right.
Who sees India as, he's got disposable, he sees India as a good property opportunity, investment, stock market opportunity, puts money. Now, 70% of the remittances is in category 1, which is the remittance for livelihood. Right. The second remittance is for the arbitrage opportunity, and the investment opportunity can vary between timing depending on when it is. Sometimes it's 10%, sometimes 20%, but largely. So we are capturing the bulk of the corridor that comes for consistent remittance. NR cannot be seen as just a machine to bring money in. The NR is actually much more. It's a longer relationship and a deeper relationship, because the man outside, it trusts somebody is taking care of his needs. I mean, we have any number of stories where people call us, like say 8 in the evening, the branch manager, and said, oh, I forgot tomorrow is my father's 50th birthday or 50th wedding anniversary. Can you make sure something happens? So the branch manager between 8 in the night and 7 in the morning will ensure that his dad, and these are not affluent customers, these are normal day-to-day middle income people who believe that they take the response, the branch will take the responsibility. They trust. That's why our whole campaign is partnership. So for him, the branch manager is like an extension of his family. He's like his brother or an uncle who's sitting in the branch. So they expect more than the traditional banking services. In fact, our branch managers, particularly in Kerala, often tell us, we are not a banker, we are their concierge. They do everything, and you should talk to our branch managers, they do everything. At one stage, about 3 years back, before RBI deregulated interest rates on term deposits, NR term deposits were 500 basis points cheaper than local terms.
Okay.
So if you are an NR customer placing money in term, you are only earning 3.5%.
No incentive.
And the domestic was about December 2011, RBI deregulated interest rates. So that pushed the cost up for all banks.
Right.
For the customer it was good.
It was good.
But for the banks it ended up being higher cost. In the last 3 years, our savings growth is, I think, number 1 or number 2 in the market in terms of incremental savings growth as a percentage.
Right.
And it has come because we have expanded substantially and we have good offerings. So savings is a very competitive area. Every bank certainly wants low cost deposits.
Right.
But usually savings comes with a more wider relationship with the customer, and he has to have some kind of familiarity with the bank to keep his operating account. See, we have one is of course the product variants, right? There is a product for, we have launched something called Young Champs for kids. After RBI deregulated more recently, allowing young children to have an account, we've launched a product for the 10-year-olds called Young Champs.
Right.
And they are very interesting propositions for the kids, and up to 2,000 rupees they can withdraw card from the ATM and stuff like that, of course with the parental approvals. Then we have a product for women called Mahila Mitra. That has been an outstanding success, both in terms of take-up and in terms of average balances. The average Mahila Mitra account holds over 3 times the balance of an average account. So the product segmentation is the young champs, Mahila Mitra for women, and then we have variants for the savings account, which typically cater to the balances based. If somebody is holding a 1 lakh, there are certain benefits. Greater than 2 lakhs, there are certain benefits. So we have, had products which are segment women, children, and economic engagement based on balances. So there are products. So if you're talking of large employers, say TCS, which has say 200,000 employees or whatever, they have typically the empaneled banks.
Okay.
Right? So they may have empaneled 5 or 6 banks, and then say Federal Bank could be the 6th or the 7th bank.
Right.
They don't mandate which bank the money goes to.
Okay.
The employee, if you're an employee of one of these companies, you could tick saying, I want bank A or B or C or D or E.
Okay, it works like that.
So the employer empanels banks.
Right.
The employee chooses from one of the empaneled banks.
Right.
So we have had modest success with some of the companies which are more recent in their startup, like say a large e-commerce company which is started in the recent 3-4 years. We may have an engagement with them.
Right.
But if you're talking of a sort of a large employer like the large software companies
Right.
who have empaneled some of these banks in the last 5-6 years,
Right.
we may not get a large share of that, because for those employers we are the 6th or the 7th bank.
Exactly.
Normally, if you are in the top 3 of the empaneled banks, there's a good chance you start getting share.
True, sir.
So we are a relative late entrant in the very big companies, but we have other ways to reach out to those customers by offering them not the payroll product,
Right.
but by offering them products like a very attractive home loan proposition or a very attractive solution for some other needs of theirs.
Right.
For example, we've launched the best product on mobile. No, I won't say mobile banking, the mobile passbook.
Right.
So I don't know if you've been tracking. Last year we won the Best Bank Award for Innovation for banking products, which is a product where your passbook is on the phone.
Okay.
So one of the biggest, this is the passbook.
Right.
It's 24 hours uploaded to downloaded to your phone.
It's real time.
So one of the things, most particularly the middle income and the senior customers, age customers want to do,
Right.
periodically go to the branch of a bank to update his passbook.
True.
And the passbook therefore is a medium for him to reach the bank.
Reach the bank. Right.
Second, he will want to know, let's say he's paid 5,000 rupees for something, he'll want to write with pencil because the bank description is usually unfriendly. Because it's, so what we introduced in the passbook is a feature, it's 24/7 there.
Right.
I can enter, suppose this is the, I can make a notation on the screen itself, what I pay, like I put, and it's a, I just put something and I've added to it. It stays there forever.
Exactly.
So
It's a note.
like-
It's
a note.
basically. Right.
So our offering of an electronic passbook on the phone has been a feature that has made many of our non-customers consider us, because they find the need to go to the branch and not see mobile banking. We also have, everybody has. That requires you to have certain other features. This is this, for example, you're busy here, or if you're a self-employed person, normally you don't go to the branch. You send your bearer or teller.
Exactly.
With a bearer or teller, you wouldn't give him access to your mobile banking, because then he can make transactions. This is a non-transaction. It's only read-only.
Just only read only. Right.
So your bearer or teller can read it and say, "Sab."
Itna hai. Right.
So this feature of a mobile-based passbook,
Right, sir.
which we are now, we have added more features. This is version 1 was a very elementary version.
Right, sir. Right.
Now you can know
Right.
what checks are in clearing.
Okay.
How many accounts do I have?
Right.
It's consolidated statements of it.
Statements. Okay.
So the total, if I have an FD, what is the FD? What is my operative account? What are the clearing checks is there? Any other account information?
It's like just like an internet banking.
Yes.
It's
Only thing, you
easy.
can't make a transaction.
Transaction on it.
It is basically your bank engagement on the move,
On the move. Right.
without being able to transact on it.
Transact.
For transaction, we have our Fed book, which is Fed Mobile, which is our mobile
Which is
banking,
exactly.
conventional mobile banking.
Right.
So the reason I mentioned this is in the context of the fact that we feel
Right.
by introducing these kind of more nuanced offerings,
True, sir. True.
we think we can reach out to segments of the market where we may be a late entrant
Exactly.
and make a case for them to consider us.
Exactly.
If you look at the first half of this financial year, we have grown first half annualized 22%.
22%. Right.
Market has grown 4%. So we have grown at a time when others are not able to grow because others are cleaning up some problems. Our growth in the segments we want has been north of 25%. Last year our SME grew 36%. But our loan book degrew.
Right. Right.
So something grew 36 and the book degrew means something else degrew substantially.
True.
And degrowth is because we wanted it to degrow.
Exactly.
We did not want to carry either high risk or low profit, where it didn't make sense for the bank to participate. So we decided that these are areas we should not be participating. So we scaled back. Do we want to lend to the good corporates? 100% yes. That we have grown 11% first half this year, with 22% annualized,
Right.
suggests we are lending. And in this, the corporate has been the highest growth. This year, corporate has grown 32% in the first half. So, highest growth is in what was my lowest growth last year,
That's right.
is showing my highest growth this year.
Exactly.
Because the clients whom we have engagement with, we are happy to lend. And we are happy to lend more if they want more.
Right.
We've been in that from the day the bank was born.
Right. Right.
And SME here, I want to qualify, is anything above say 5 crores to 25 crores we call SME.
Okay.
But what we call large corporate is higher than 25 crore exposure. But 45% of my large corporate book is what we call the mid-market.
Okay.
So really mid-market, the 5 to 50 crore exposure is actually S, M and ME.
Exactly.
That is small, medium and mid-market. That is the bank's playing field. We want to be a very important lender, not only lender, important full service bank in that segment. Because A, that's a segment will grow faster than the GDP of the country in the coming years.
Exactly.
B, it is relatively underpenetrated.
Right.
C, my employees and my branches are best tailored to meet the needs of that client base. So, product, market, capability all converge in that space. So, for the next 5 to 10 years, we want to be meaningfully growing there faster than that segment, which is anyway going to grow faster than the market. All of us as bankers struggle to read their financial power because they are not very disciplined in their financials. But they have cash flow which you can read from their bank statements. So as long as we are capturing the cash flow, we know how to bank them.
Right.
And they are all having reasonable security behind them. Unfortunately, their financial disciplines are not strong. That's not true for everybody, but there are segments of the market which is not very strong. As long as you are able to engage the cash flow of that client,
Right.
you can do a lot for and with that client.
Right.
So we remain reasonably confident that for time to come we can keep doing that and do much more with them on the other side, which is their cash management side,
Right.
which we are doing. This year, in the last 12 months, we've had very encouraging growth on Agri.
Right.
But Agri here, we are looking at Agri again as a wider spread. We believe big in the high-tech agro, which is really a business, not the end-use farmer, but the guy who's putting machinery, running plants, running large facilities, which are in the nature of agro manufacturing.
Exactly. Food processing.
Yeah, so we are investing, we are participating substantially in that segment, and we think that can be a large growth opportunity in the coming years. There are three parts to the NPA improvement.
Right.
One is the non-addition.
Right.
You avoid slippages.
Right.
You ensure that the underwriting process is better, so you are able to prevent.
Right.
The second is the recoveries and upgrades.
Right. Right.
These two are crucial in getting. But our model that we have adopted is what we call the risk independence. All our underwriting is independent of the originator.
Okay.
So somebody originates, an entirely independent team underwrites.
Okay. Right. Right.
So there is no bias that I brought in, therefore he is my client and you want me to approve
Right.
it. No. I bring in with the justification, he underwrites.
So the marketing and the credit risk
Yes,
is in
that
there.
is one. Second, we have created a fairly heavy investment in the monitoring teams. So there is an independent credit monitoring capability who watch the account performance and intervene at an early stage to alert client and the team that hey, there are things that you need to watch out, fix it. The third is, in case there's a default, the interventions on remediation is much faster and much ahead of it. So, independence in origination, closer monitoring, and a very active remediation program helps you to keep the portfolio reasonably in check. And the fourth, at least in the last 3 years, in all known bads in the market that are today, we don't have an exposure.
Right.
So it only suggests that we chose not to take the exposure up front because we were uncomfortable with what we saw. Restructuring of some of our older portfolios which are in the telecom and industry space, we have had our fair share.
Right.
But the more giant exposures in the industry which are hurting, we chose not to participate in them 3-4 years back, which is I think some level of both wisdom and sacrifice is involved.
Right.
Because at the time of saying no,
Right.
it hurt because somebody else is growing faster than you. I think the bigger point on the fee income is the entire treasury FX related areas that we focus on is doing well.
Okay.
By virtue of our primary business model, which is we are reasonably good in the S and the middle market,
Market. Right.
and we have consciously gone to that segment with beyond lending.
Okay.
So it's not about just giving you a term loan or a working capital, but we want to do your FX needs. We want to work with you on your bank guarantee needs. So we try to introduce a wider array of products to the same client base. And we do have a fair share of exporters in our portfolio,
Right.
particularly in our home market in Kerala. A large part of the important export clients are with us.
Right.
And they use us because we have a very high quality treasury capability
Right.
and we offer very competitive rates.
Correct.
So we get a decent share of that business.